on just some of the things I've been doing to kind of keep my mind at peace as far as trying to recover from my injury and whatnot. Just kind of killing time and just doing some other things music related while I was still injured. But so let me show you one of my guitars that I actually sticker bombed. This is my Ibanez RG570. This is a 1991 made in Japan guitar. I got this thing with the case. The case has seen better days, obviously. It's a little beat up, but for the most part, this guy took really good care of it, whoever owned it. I got this at Guitar Center, my local Guitar Center actually, and I happened to come across it. One of my buddies ended up sending me the link to it, and he said that he was curious, you know, how these models stacked up to like some of the 90s, early 90s Jacksons and things like that. And I always loved the you know, these particular kind of Ibanez's. They always had the super fast necks, and you know, I had a lower end Ibanez model too that you guys may have seen on the channel years and years ago, maybe 10 years ago or something like that. It was just a cheap like Indonesia made guitar that I bought off a buddy for $100, and things sounded amazing. Killer freaking guitar. But I ended up just, you know, when I acquire other stuff, and for whatever reason at the time I ended up parting ways with it. But I wanted to ultimately replace that guitar, but I ended up upgrading quite a bit when I found this one. So this is, like I said, this is a 91 Ibanez RG570. This one's got the V1 and V2 pickups. Those are the DiMarzio like in-house Ibanez pickups, the licensed DiMarzio pickups basically, as far as my understanding. So yeah, I wanted to keep the horror theme on this guitar. That was kind of what I was going for. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of do that. I was bored, and it was a good time killer for me. And I think it makes the guitar look even cooler. It is cool when it's all black too, but I just felt like doing it. But the other thing too about this is going to be one of the models that I record with when I go to do the projects, as far as my recordings go, with not only Eric Maratti from Suffocation. We're going to be doing some work together, and I'm going to do some other recordings with it as well, because this thing just sounds absolutely deadly. Anything that I plug it into, it just sounds killer. You guys that have been followers for a while, you know that I'm a Diodario nickel wound XL. Just they're cheaper strings I prefer over the NYXLs. This has always been my go-to. So 11 to 49 D standard tuning, and I'm going to cut these off here because these are still actually the original strings that were on there. I'm very lazy when it comes to string changes and replacing the strings. I mean, I'm not the only one in that boat, but yeah, I'm definitely one of those people where if they still sound like they got some life out of them, I try to get as much as possible out of it before I got to change the damn things, and it sucks. I hate doing it, even for how much experience I have adjusting the Floyd Roses. Like, I grew up on these things, so I have no problem. They don't give me any of a headache because I know how they work and how they handle. I know exactly what they want. And this one, since I don't do a lot of soloing, you know, from time to time a solo might end up on some of my music where I feel like, you know, I got an empty space or there's a good place for it. But for the most part, I am strictly a rhythm player, always have been. Solos have never been my interest, even when I first started playing guitar. So I'm just going to end up blocking this Floyd and just keep it as, rock it as a fixed bridge. And then on top of it, not to mention, I'm missing one of the fine tuners here. So yeah, it is what it is. But you know, $600 out the door with it for this guitar, with the hard shell and everything. And you know, like I said, it's in pretty damn good shape for how old it is. Yeah, I mean, yeah, a little bit of wear here and a little bit here, but I mean, as far as scratches and everything else goes, this thing is in really tip-top shape. You don't have the typical cracks like you see on a lot of these early models right there. That doesn't exist. That's not on there. But yeah, guys, so that's gonna be after I string this up, I can do some audio clips for you guys. You can see what this thing sounds like. I actually want to plug it in to my Egnator Armageddon that I got fully set up and ready to go for properly demoing it. So yeah, we can plug into that guy and you can hear what it sounds like through there. But like I said, anything that I plug this guitar into, it just sounds freaking massive. A couple things that I actually do before I actually cut through these strings is I do unwind them a few turns before I go and clip them, because when I was a kid, believe it or not, I had one of these hit me in the eye after it snapped off, and yeah, obviously I'll remember that for the rest of my life. So I detune them quite a bit, and then I snip them off before I do that. And I also, believe it or not, this was in the Jackson owner's manual when I used to have my 97 USA Randy Rhodes. It mentioned, you know, to keep this stable, you know, at the time they didn't have all those other tools where you could just slide like a plate underneath here to keep this from diving, you know, into the routing area. So I just, in the manual it said to just take some old credit cards and stack them up just so it stays flush. So to this day I still do that. My old credit cards or Vitamin Shop card that you see there, I just put them in there so it'll keep it nice and level right there so it won't drop into the cavity. So yeah, I'm gonna clip these off. I just use one of these guys here. I got this from, I think I got this from StewMac. So it's got the winder and it's got the clipper right here. And then obviously I've had some lower back issues from time to time that I'm dealing with currently still, and I'm just standing up doing this now. So this is like my makeshift table, all my my hard shell cases, but it puts the guitar right at the level I need it, where I ain't gonna have any back issues. I can just work on this thing and be comfortable. Okay, so the next thing that I do, guys, after I've removed the strings is I'll go ahead and polish the frets. Now what I do is I ended up ordering this off of StewMac, I believe, as well. These are just little, basically scuff pads. Go all the way from 1500 grit to 12,000. I usually just stick with, I'll start with 2400, I'll go to 4000, and maybe do a final touch with the 12,000, and that should be good on that. Then I will also go and I will clean the fretboard. Let that fully dry up, make sure I get all the funk and gunk off of it. Now, since I have not changed the strings, it's the first time I'm changing the strings on this. I don't know how dirty this fretboard is going to be, but you could tell that a lot of asses have been wiped with these rags, so to speak, as far as just cleaning fretboards and whatnot. And then I will finish with this, the conditioner. I haven't really gotten the habit of applying any lemon oil. I do have it as far as putting that on the fretboard, but I haven't really used it. I haven't really felt like it was that necessary, so I just kind of left that off of there. I just give it a good cleaning. And then another thing that I also do is I make sure that these tuning pegs are all in the same line. It's just I keep a little bit of consistency to make things as easy as possible when it comes time to put the strings back on. So basically I'll have the holes all lined up in the same spot, so when I'm feeding the strings through, I don't have to sit there with any guesswork and remember where the hell it was after I wind it around, because I have a specific way that I wind these strings. I know some people will just feed it right through and start twisting. I've had strings bust off multiple times doing that, where it just causes too much bend and tension. It weakens the string right here and it ends up busting off on me, so I don't even take that risk. That's why I'm kind of an anti-locking tuner kind of person. I know what I like. I'm old school. I just like doing things the old-fashioned way, where I just wrap around several times to give it that strength and then feed it through. When I do this, guys, I don't spend a whole lot of time on these frets. I mean, I'm just kind of get in, get out kind of thing, because I want to hurry up and get back to playing this son of a bitch. So I don't just sit there and just grind the shit out of everything. And you know, like I showed you too, I don't really go too rough on the grit. You know, I kind of start at a higher number and work my way to an even higher number. Now let's go by feel too, but these feel pretty damn good. All right, let's see if you guys can see what the hell I'm doing. Give it a shaky shake. Spray it in the cleaner area on the towel. A few sprays. This stuff goes a long way too. And then basically just spread the shit on the fretboard. This is a really, really nice dark rosewood fretboard. I love when they were doing these back in the early 90s. And they started doing like that poop brown looking shit. Yeah, it's got some funk and gunk on it. So I'll just do a few passes and then make sure it's nice and clean, nice and dry before I apply Number 2, the conditioner that I showed you guys. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to do a couple passes here. But still, I've seen much worse. Really what I should do, because I'm a rhythm player, you should just clean from the 1st to the 12th fret, about halfway on, right? Because I don't play any other strings. Some of you people just shut the fuck up. You ever heard of rhythm guitar? That's what I play. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. There's a thing called Google. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's actually pretty state of the art. Look up rhythm guitar and see what that is. Fucking dumbasses, I swear to God. Got no videos yourself. You have no credibility. You're not qualified to say anything. Sit there, shut the fuck up. Plus, you're not big. So even more reason to shut the hell up. But anyway, so I'll do one more pass. We'll let that dry. Then we'll apply number 2, like I showed you guys right here. Let that dry, and then we'll be ready to put the strings on. Sound good? Sounds good. Alright, this is all dry, so now it's time to apply number 2. So this has got a little applicator at the end of it. Just push down, give it a little squeeze. Not too hard, because you'll learn the hard way if you do that, if you guys do buy this product, is it'll shoot out like super fast. It will splooge out very fast. So just kind of work it in between each fret. And obviously it's harder to get into these frets, so I just take what ends up on the rag and just kind of spread it that way. There's more than enough product on here to do that. And basically just work it into the material. So the towel's nice and damp, so I can just spread to the last remaining frets. It's amazing too for how old this guitar is, just the craftsmanship, the quality, the types of materials that were used on these things back in the day. I mean, when you get into like the Ibanez Prestige models, things of that nature, I mean, there are some other, I mean, even some of the degree of Indonesia quality with Ibanez, they're pretty good. But some of the other brands that are out there, just junk. Get some of these older models, they're just a way better bang for your buck. Okay guys, so the strings are attached. The next step is going to be to stretch out the slack, just to kind of break them in a little bit before I go ahead and start tuning and intonating. So again, this is going to be D standard, so I just pretty much, once I got majority of the slack, I don't get too aggressive with it because I don't want to risk popping the strings or just make them just overly stretched out. So I just go like this, up and down, pull a little bit this way, like so. So again, D standard it's going to be, so just by ear. Kind of using Slave New World Sepultura as my reference. Okay, that's pretty close. Another thing too is I did clip these off. Now back when I was in gut rot back in 2004, for that year and a half that I was actually playing regularly, practicing, and jammed a few shows here and there. What I did was I would actually keep some slack on my strings. I wouldn't actually clip these off. I don't know if any of you guys know this, but this is a good tip if you guys use Floyd Roses and you play regularly, band practices or on stage. Keep that slack on there because 99.9% of the time, pretty much a guaranteed 100, your string is always gonna, if you're gonna have any trouble popping a string, it's always gonna pop right here at the saddle piece, at the block. So real quick on the spot, if you need to get back in tune or whatever, just obviously detune a little bit. You can feed some slack, feed it back into your saddle block, tighten it back down, tune it to pitch, you're ready to go again. Alright guys, so I got the bridge exactly where it needs to be, perfectly level. These strings are still kind of breaking themselves in, trying to figure out their new home. So usually what I do, in some cases, if I can actually do it, I'll just leave these overnight because they are going to move a little bit still before I make my intonation. But the neck was perfectly straight before I threw the strings on. I check all those other variables before I go ahead and make any other adjustments with it. So nice and perfectly straight neck. And I got the action exactly, I mean, it was pretty much where I wanted it before with the original strings that were on it. So I left everything kind of as is. And it's right where I need it, right where I want it. Feels good, plays good. So yeah, we're gonna check it out through the Ignitor Armageddon. I got the 4x12 cab with it now as well. Picked that up over the summer from Kyle Bull. Kyle, thank you so much for holding on to that for me. Because this thing just, it's like a match in heaven with that amplifier. My V30 2x12 cab was good too, but this just fucking blows that thing away. So let's check it out. I think this thing is gonna sound killer. I can't fucking wait. Let's see what we got here. It probably will go out of tune maybe, but I gotta chug along and see what happens here. Man, this thing's just got the biggest balls, the biggest balls. God, I love it. I wish I was warmed up, and had some ideas, but definitely this is going to be a part of the writing process, this guy right here, because of that sound, man. If I can nail it with a guitar, any guitar can nail it, it's this one. That 90s, early 90s death metal sound that I'm going for on a lot of my songs. This is it right here. This fucking guitar right here. Still kind of hard to do with my injury right now. That feels kind of weird, but I'll get better. I'm getting better every day with this shit. And as far as that Armageddon head and cab goes, I will dive into a much bigger video on all that because I have a lot to say about this amplifier. Same thing with the cabinet. It freaking rules. Not a lot of people have that. There's not a lot of videos on it. There's not a lot of info with other people that have shared experiences with that. But that thing is badass. I freaking love this amplifier, and I'm so glad that I was able to snag one of these. But we'll get into that in another video. I just wanted to show you guys just a little bit of context. I know it's been a long time since I've had anything on the channel, so I'm trying to do the best I can to remedy everything that's going on with my nerve damage and stuff like that. But I'm really, really happy to be back. I'm happy to be making videos again for you guys. So appreciate you guys as always. I'll talk to you soon. Take care out there.
Thank you so much for being with us.